the show. Well, Democratic politicians are finally starting to take the idea of reparations seriously. Mitch McConnell says there's no need to worry about it.
I don't think reparations for something that happened 150 years ago, for whom none of us currently living are responsible, is a good idea. We've, tried to deal with our original sin of slavery by fighting a civil war, by passing landmark civil rights legislation. We've elected an African-American president.
Who's we, asshole? You spent 8 years openly fighting Obama at every turn. If Obama was reparations, which is nonsense, then McConnell is the guy who burns your 40 acres and then fucks your mule. I decided it was time to learn more about what reparations are and what they could be from someone other than Mitch McConnell.
It's Juneteenth, a day to celebrate the abolition of slavery. Sadly, our country has yet to atone for our racist past, or really, our racist present. So let's have a conversation about the conversation that white people have been ignoring for several hundred years. Reparations. The idea that some sort of compensation needs to be made to the descendants of those who were enslaved in America. I went to the Morris Jamel Mansion, a former slave plantation in Manhattan, and sat down with a reparations expert.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna be black.
Well, I'm German.
Oh, say no more.
To this day, Germany pays a monthly pension to survivors of the Holocaust. And while it's always too little too late, it is important.
So obviously the compensation doesn't really make up for your loss.
There's nothing you can do to compensate for wholesale extermination of an entire people.
No.
It's a gesture, a symbolic gesture.
A symbolic gesture.
Yes. To me, it signaled that Germany was taking responsibility, but it still doesn't take away from the shame that I feel for me as a descendant of the perpetrating side, including my beloved grandparents who sympathized with the Nazi movement.
I was ashamed of my dad when he picked me up from school in jorts. I think you win.
Absolutely.
Speaking of perpetrating sides, the U.S. government hasn't talked about reparations since the 40 acres and a mule debacle. Thanks, Andrew Johnson. Fuck both of those guys. But one university is giving it a try. Here is Melisande Short-Colomb, a 65-year-old rising junior at Georgetown.
How did you end up at Georgetown University?
My family was enslaved by Georgetown for 150 years. They needed some money. So they sold my family to the deepest, most racist part of the new America.
So you were like, my family was sold by Georgetown, so I should go to Georgetown.
Yeah.
Hope you play lacrosse. Georgetown was shamed into confronting its history when students put them on blast a few years ago. As a result, the university renamed 2 buildings after former slaves and offered descendants legacy admission.
Legacy admission means that you come from families who have made significant financial contributions to the well-being of the institution.
Georgetown was built on the backs of slaves. It's a pretty significant contribution.
But the student body didn't think that was enough, so they voted to increase tuition by $27.20 a semester, with the money going toward a fund for descendants. But guess what?
It has to be implemented by the university, but there is no timeline of action.
Hey, Georgetown, feel more guilty.
Okay, has anyone figured out how to pay slave reparations? Anyone?
The British government paid reparations in 1833 when they abolished slavery.
Okay.
And they paid it back all the way until 2015.
They just finished paying it
They
off?
just finished paying it off. To this slave owners.
I'm sorry, I think you meant they paid the slaves.
Thank you for the correction, but no, it was actually the slave owners.
Oh no. We can never tell Trump about this.
No.
He can never watch this piece or learn this piece of knowledge.
He will not.
Well, at least Georgetown isn't suggesting reverse reparations.
Do you consider what Georgetown is doing right now to be reparations?
No.
And what is the difference?
I think reparations speaks to a larger conversation. We need to take a deep, deep, deep look at the social ill of what is white supremacy.
Are we capable of that?
I would think that we need to be.
So how do we do it? I took to the porch of the mansion to ask people who are allowed to have an opinion on reparations. What would reparations look like to you?
I think it needs to be a mixture of social programs and monetary compensation.
I say free college for African American kids.
Because it's like education was something that was denied for so long. Higher education it's a great first step.
Who should get reparations?
Anyone but white people.
I feel like that should be the Democratic slogan for like 2020, 2024, maybe 2028. What about Ben Carson? Does he qualify?
Ben Carson doesn't get reparations. He should actually pay a penalty. Like, he's a negative.
He is kind of.
He should contribute.
What if one of the conditions of reparations was that white people just don't vote for like 10 election cycles?
I'm not totally for that because I think that
Really?
would be oppressing white people, and I'm not for oppressing white people. I'm just for giving black people reparations.
I'm for oppressing white people, just a little bit. Amazing! Reparations are about so much more than money. They're also about oppressing Ben Carson.
My luggage.
For people who have been ignoring black people and Spike Lee's production company for like 250 years, why are reparations important?
Telling the truth is painful, but it ends up being so rewarding. It's like walking in a rain shower. Getting soaking wet kind of sucks in the moment, but after you've been washed by the rain, you feel pretty good.
Mellie's right. A rain shower. Oh my God, is that your roommate? Hi, guy.
Hey, I always like learn a lot when I'm here, so it's a lot of fun.
Great. You college kids.
We'll be right back.